All right, welcome back to Cruise Control. My name's Eric, and today we get to talk about the brand new 2024 Ford Mustang. Let's take a look at that right now. Welcome to Cruise Control. All right, so here they are, the new 24 Mustangs, man. We have the convertible, the hardtop, a 4-cylinder, an 8-cylinder, a manual transmission, gas-powered, no EVs. That's crazy. The competition is going to EVs. The all-new Camaro is going to go to EV. We haven't seen what that's going to look like or what it's going to sound like. The Dodge, though, they actually showed us a little bit of, hey, this is what it's going to sound like, and there's mixed reactions to how it sounds. But you know what? Hey, they're trying to evoke some emotion. I appreciate that. But Ford was like, nope, forget about that. We are going to keep internal combustion engines alive, otherwise known as ICE. This right here, though, this is some big news. So the 4-cylinder engine is going to be kept. There is going to be no 6-cylinder, right? We don't know what the horsepower is. Ford said at least the same amount of power, so about 310 horsepower. But maybe they'll up it a little bit. But big news is the 5.0 is even more powerful than before. Previous gen was 450 horsepower to 460, depending on what year that you bought. This one is supposed to make a minimum of 480 horsepower. That's awesome. The fact that they can keep V8 with today's rules on fuel economy and emissions and make it have even more power, 480 horsepower out of a 5-liter, that is almost 100 horsepower per liter. And this thing looks fantastic. It's packed with technology. So let's go ahead and start looking at them. You're going to be able to tell the difference on what each model is based on the front end. One we're looking at right now, this is the 4-cylinder, the base model. Now, I think it looks really good. A lot of times the base model kind of gets overlooked and it kind of looks chintzy and it doesn't look really good. But honestly, the 4-cylinder is not a penalty box. This thing looks really, really good. Yes, it's basically the same lines as what we had before, but I want to draw some attention to something. This picture specifically, where you get to see that rear quarter end, does anybody else see a little bit of Camaro? This almost looks like the Camaro and the Mustang kind of got together, and this is their, their child. Because from this angle, I see a little bit of Camaro. This looks really good. And the dual exhaust on here, everything looks really nice. Those wheels, though, I wanted to draw some attention to these bronze wheels. As we get to the other models, like the V8 and the convertible, I actually like these bronze wheels the most. I think they look great. Here we go. This is the V8, and you can tell it's the V8 based on that front end, and plus the 5.0 badges on the side. But just by looking at the front, you can tell that there's a big difference between the way this one looks and the 4-cylinder. So this looks more aggressive, as it should. The other one looks a little bit more subdued, and this is more in your face. This is kind of like, hey man, I'm here, and it's like, yep, this thing is really, really good looking. And look at this quad tipped exhaust here in the back. Really like this Mustang. It looks really nice. The GT is going to have that 480 horsepower. It's going to rev to like 7,500 RPM, and you're going to be able to get a 6-speed manual. In fact, if you want a 6-speed manual, you can only buy it in the V8. Otherwise, you get the 10-speed auto. 10-speed auto probably works just fine in the EcoBoost. It's probably going to keep it in its power band better. But anybody that wants a manual and you want to hear the growl of that big old V8, this is going to be what you want. And a little party trick, the Mustang's actually going to come with a remote that makes it to where if you want to show off what the V8 sounds like, you can go ahead and hit the button and it'll rev for you and, show everybody what it sounds like. There's no real point to that. It's just kind of cool. Those blue brake calipers that you see in there, those are Brembos, man. And those are going to be really, really good for the performance around the track. They are very focused that this is going to be track capable, so I'm excited to see what it can do. It's going to have that magnetic ride suspension. It's going to be able to change your settings. You're going to have a lot of individual settings. And here we go. Anybody that wants a drop top, a convertible, a soft top, this is going to be your new 2024 Mustang convertible. I think I prefer it in the hardtop, just me personally. But yeah, that still looks really good as a convertible, especially with the beach in the background. That looks really nice. If you guys are in a coastal city, I especially see why you'd want to get that. Here in Colorado, kind of wish it had a retractable hardtop, but I'm sure it would also be fine. You know what? The convertible does look really nice. And this is obviously the GT, because you can tell with that front end. That is just a very aggressive front end. I like that. That looks cool. Oh, here we go. Another party trick. This right here are the 1980s box body gauges. And so this is a digital gauge cluster. So Ford was, hey, you know what? Let's have some fun with it. And let's make sure people can change their gauges. And one of the modes is a classic 80s gauge cluster. This is really cool. I hope maybe, because it's software, I hope maybe they can do all of them. You know, go through the 60s, go through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. It'd be kind of cool if every gauge cluster could be uploaded on here and you could drive any gauge cluster that you felt like for the day. But very cool, Ford. I like that you're thinking fun and doing something different out of the norm. And yes, it will glow with that green glow of the 1980s at night as well. So very nice touch. All right, here is a first shot of how the interior is going to look. Looks very nice. I wouldn't say I'm blown away by it, but it is a substantial improvement of what the current gen Mustang interiors do look like. The seats look like they're going to be really comfortable. Nice little leather two-tone that's going on. I like the red stitching that's all about the cabin. The screens are really big, but they also kept the profile nice and low so you can see over the dash. I like that for racing and being able to see you around your favorite mountain corner road. So you know what? What do we see that's the most important in this picture? That manual transmission. So even in the convertible, you're going to be able to get the manual transmission as long as you're buying it with the V8, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Back seats for smaller people, maybe 5'7" and under. Aha! Here's the big deal right here. This is your just normal handbrake. Let's move on. Just kidding. This you actually get to pull up, and Ford wants you to drift. And this will engage the rear wheels to lock at the same time. It'll buck out the back end, and then you'll start drifting. So this helps you, teach you how to drift. So Ford sees that that's a big motivator for people with a big fast car like this, and Mustangs are really good at drifting anyways because of the front engine rear wheel drive. And so they're making it to where everyone can do this. So this is an electronic brake, but when you pull this lever right here, it, like I said, locks those two rear wheels and puts you into a drift. And so this thing will teach you how to drift. How cool is that? I mean, come on. I don't see that coming out with Chevy or Dodge. Ooh, the optional Recaro seats. Now, normally with Recaro seats, they're really great for on track, but you're going to lose comfort. Ford said, nope, you're going to get both. We're going to have heated and ventilated Recaro seats. So it doesn't matter if you're cold, you have the heat. If you get too hot, you have the ventilation. So this is going to be really cool. You get to have the better driving seats and also the creature comforts when you're out for a cruise. So I really appreciate Ford doing that. That's really nice. There is one more thing that Ford pulled out, and I was very shocked when they're like, hey, we have another model for you. And I was like, okay, it's going to be like a Mach 1 or some kind of special edition. It's the first of its kind. It's called Dark Horse. Apparently they've been listening to some Katy Perry, but the Dark Horse badge does look really cool that you see here. The paint has a nice little metallic flake to it. And so the front is even more aggressive than the GT. Everything gets kind of like darked out, so I really like that. Ooh, yeah, that's a nice front end, man. That's very menacing. I really like this color. Really cool looking. It's just a very aggressive looking Mustang. Pricing should start at around low end 55, high end 65. Probably land somewhere in the $60,000 range, assuming you can get it without dealership markup. So if you live near a Ford area that does not have markup, please leave those comments down below so that way anybody that's interested in getting a new Mustang for 2024 can get one without paying markup. So don't care where it is in the United States, leave where that Ford dealership is without markup in the comment section so we can send them business and teach these other Ford dealerships not to charge markup, because this Dark Horse is the Mustang that I am the most interested in. Look at that back end shot, man. That wing, oh man, that looks really cool. Very menacing looking. It's going to have a tiny bit more power. They're going to add about 20 more horsepower to this, but that means you're going to be at 500 horsepower in a 5-liter. So we are finally at 100 horsepower per liter in a Ford Mustang, which is really cool. And this thing is going to also have a Tremec 6-speed manual transmission. So this is the better manual versus the standard manual that's in the normal Mustang GT. So I'm really excited that this is going to be a new model that Ford's offering. I think it's going to sell very well. I still personally liked the bronze wheels a little bit more. You can buy some carbon fiber wheels like what was on the Shelby GT350 and 350R and the GT500. So you are going to be able to get those. And then as you can see, these tires that are on here, these are made for the track. So this is a very track focused vehicle and I'm here for it. What do you guys think? Which Mustang's your favorite model? You guys gonna go for the 4-cylinder, a convertible with which model? And honestly, this dark horse has my attention. Absolutely, this is my favorite model. The 500 horsepower, naturally aspirated V8 that has a quiet mode so it doesn't make your neighbors mad, or a loud mode if you don't care. So that's really cool. Ford, thank you so much for this. I like that you're able to offer 2 different Mustangs. One's the Mustang Mach-E, and that is the EV. So for everyone that wants an EV, you can go find your Mustang right now. Well, maybe it's not in stock, but you can order one right now. It's the Ford Mustang Mach-E, and you get to fit the whole family in there, and you have your EV, which is a really cool EV. I was shopping one personally. Couldn't quite afford it at this point in time, but honestly, I would have bought it. I really liked it. It had a Bang & Olufsen sound system, which, by the way, this is going to be an option in this Mustang, and that sound system is amazing. And so this guy right here, absolutely, this is one of the ones that's on my mind. So now you either have your EV or you have your internal combustion engine option as well. So Chevy and Dodge, they're folding it in. They're just going to go full EV, which is the way of the world. That's how we're going forward. But Ford said, nope, we are going to give a wake-up call, and we say one more ride at least. So this may be the last generation of the internal combustion engine in a Mustang. Hope not, but it could be. What do you guys think? Which model would you guys get? Leave your comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Eric. This is Cruise Control. And remember, just drive.